Welcome back to In This Corner with Cyrus Fees. I'm Cyrus, and we just heard from Frank Mir. What an awesome guy. What a great interview. And now we're going to move to the main event here. And, of course, we're talking about a 15-year veteran of the sport, the current Bellator featherweight champion, former UFC Strikeforce and Invicta champion. And I consider her the baddest woman on the planet. It is Cris Cyborg with her friend on her shoulder. Who do we got there, Cris?
This is Ciao Sonny. Hi, baby.
Little Chael Sonnen there on your shoulder there. So you're in Huntington Beach in California. How's everything looking out there with the coronavirus and everything?
You know, I think it's stopping. Start a little bit start to open little things, but you still have to use the code, have 6 feet, fight another people, and then use the mask. I think the most important, we respect what they say, for you don't have to close everything again.
Yeah, I think you just made the most important statement right there. No matter what you think about it, follow the rules so we don't have to close down all of our businesses. You know what I mean? It's very, very difficult for the small business owners and all that. So how long have you been back in Huntington Beach? Because I know you were in South Africa for a good amount of time as well.
I was back and forth all the time going to South Africa. Then now about COVID thing, probably I'm going to have to do my next camp here. I'm not going to go to South Africa. But I came to, I think, 3 weeks before my fight, the last January.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's very good, great team there. I miss that guys. But now this is going to have to, I'm going to do my camp here because I'm not going to be able to back and forth because of the COVID.
Yeah, of course. And shout out to Richie Kwan and Don Madge and Martin Van Staden and the whole crew. I love all those guys. Of course, I see them all the time with the EFC, but just fantastic. And, of course, Don Madge still in the UFC, and we look forward to seeing him fight again. I got to talk. I mean, obviously you being in Africa and you really like South Africa, which is amazing because I really like South Africa as well. I think it's an amazing country. And I pray for everybody over there because I know right now they're dealing with a lot with the COVID. But how about hooking up with Justin Wren with the fight for the Forgotten in Uganda? Can you talk about that a little bit?
I think I met Justin 1 year before I fought Amanda Nunes. I think the time I fought Holly Holm. And then I met him. And then before the fight with the Amanda Nunes, I told Ray, I think I would like to make one plan, put the water wells, everything. And he said, Cris, I know one guy you just met, 1 year ago, and Justin. And I will talk to Justin. And sorry.
Not Chael. Hey, Chael never stops talking.
Yeah, never stop. And then I met him and before, and then nice because I have the idea. And soon after fight Amanda Nunes, I say, I would like to make the water wells, and I contact him. We make one plan together, and it works perfect because the time I'm going to South Africa for training with Rich Bond and Don, I have the opportunity. To check the water wells they put. It's the pygmies. It's a very special time for me over there because you learn a lot. You learn a lot to be there. Learn a lot of people. We complain about that, but it's a lot of things going on. It's not just the COVID. Everywhere in the world, it's a lot of people suffering.
So many problems over there. Of course, with malaria and different diseases, and just the time that I've spent in South Africa has given me a whole new outlook on the whole world. Especially being in the States and all the things that we have here in the States that we don't really appreciate. People have it really rough in other places. And I had a chance to bring my daughter over to South Africa and opened her eyes a little bit. Even at 5 years old, I showed her, it's like, look on the streets, you got a baby here that's 3 years old that's sitting on the street begging for money. It's like, it's insane.
You didn't see here in America. It's very, very difficult to see. It's nice, but over there you getting shocked. If you never see here, you go over there. I always talk to my daughter, say, I want the opportunity sometimes she go. I went to Uganda, and then I would like some point she's going to Uganda there, and she's these people don't have anything, and still smile, still happy,
Well, obviously originally from Brazil, Cris, and there is a lot of poverty in Brazil, and there's definitely, and I don't know, of course, your complete background growing up, but obviously you made your way, from handball, which I think is very interesting, and then move over to Chute Boxe. And this incredible camp, so many legends that came out of this team. It's like a Hall of Fame. Every name that you name there is like Hall of Fame. What can you tell me about that group and just how hard the training was, and just give me an example of what life was like in Chute Boxe, back there in early 2000s.
When I start training, I was never have a dream for be a fighter, and I was play handball. One guy from Shute Boxe, black belt, saw me play handball and said, I think he can be a great fighter. And I show up at the gym. I only meet the girl, don't have a lot of girls that time. And for me, it's everything new, but I like to learn, I like to compete. And the training is I didn't understand too much about the MMA world because it was new for me, but they have a lot of stars trained over there, like Wanderlei, Ninja, Shogun, Cyborg, and they have a lot of guys over there, the big names fighting Japan. And I started to learn with them, how they deal with the fans, how they deal work every day. I feel very blessed to have the opportunity watching them train. It's a tough training every day.
Yeah, it's so I love hearing about the fights over there, and of course the no holds barred, and just some of the fights, some of the stuff that Wanderlei was doing. I've seen video of it, and it blows my mind. Some of these fights that were happening and almost looked like they were in basements, and it just insane things. Can you tell me any crazy stories about some of the fights that they had back then in Brazil that maybe would surprise people or kind of blow their mind a little bit?
The one thing is very nice because that time you can watch your opponent fight. You have the mindset, be ready for anybody, anywhere, anytime, doesn't matter who. Because now when you're gonna fight, your opponent, you study in YouTube, and then you know what to do. But the time there, you don't know who's gonna fight.
Of course.
You're gonna show up, and maybe you're gonna see one picture for someone. Like no, you're gonna fight this guy. But it's very different the time now. You have to be already prepared for someone you don't know. You hear about maybe he's good leg lock, or maybe he's good in boxing. And it's very different mindset than now for the last time, and then the beginner. And I learned that mindset. Always be ready, always be training hard. And because you don't know when the opportunity come. And actually, you don't have to wait the opportunity to come. You have to be ready for the opportunity. You make the opportunity happen,
Always. No, I definitely agree. That is a good strategy for anybody's life. Just make the opportunity happen. That's what you have to do.
Yes.
So you made your way, obviously some big fights in Brazil, and then you move up against Shayna Baszler, which we're going to get back. We're going to come back to Shayna Baszler because she's obviously doing some amazing things right now in WWE, which is pretty awesome. But, you go into Strikeforce, and the moment, of course, I always remember, just as a fan at that time, is just what you did to Gina Carano. I mean, just, gosh, Gina Carano, of course, everybody likes her because, she's this movie star and she's a stunt woman and does all these things and very beautiful. And they built her up, and you came through and just destroyed her. Talk about that fight. I feel like that was the launching point for you. I think that's when everybody had their eye on Cyborg.
I didn't watch the fight of her before, but I know it's a lot of pressure. Everybody with her that fight. But I have in my heart is this the opportunity I have, it's and then I just go focus for the fight, and I know it's a lot of, but I was upset that time, everybody was with her over there, but this is the opportunity people figure out the Cyborg over there, everybody see, man, the killer machine is so fun. Everybody's calling me the beginner, the killer machine, and they never see like so violent in my fights, and the women's MMA. I think this is make a lot of change in women's MMA.
And I think the one aspect about your career that not a lot of fighters, men or women, can really understand is that you couldn't find fights for the longest time. It was so hard to find an opponent, and people would back out and they'd find a reason not to fight you for so long. That has to be so difficult with your training to get ready for a fight or to always stay prepared and stay in a good mindset when you have fights falling off and all these things happening. How did you always stay motivated to kind of be ready for the next fight when nobody wanted to fight you?
The beginning is very hard for me because don't have girls before. I don't have MMA fight for the girls, and then after when I start fighting, girls don't want to fight me, and then I stayed like 1 year looking for girls. I stay 1.2 years in my career, you know, no fighting and just training. And I have my family, like my ex helped me a lot. He's
Yeah.
fighting and he support me. And there's all the time he telling me, Chris, you just invest, just continue training, you know, because the opportunity is gonna come. And when they come, you're gonna be ready. And he always motivate me and for continue training. But it's no easy. It's no easy. No easy financial, like for pay your bills,
Of course.
you know, fighting. It's very difficult. But in the beginning of my career, I have a lot of small sponsor, small helper, you know, then help me a couple things and for me to continue my journey.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. You know, and then, you know, going to the UFC and then the time in Invicta too. And a big shout out to Invicta and Shannon Knapp and the whole organization has always been a very classy organization. I've always loved how they've done everything. But really, when you were in Invicta, they had lost a lot of fighters that have gone on to the UFC at that point. So you were like the main event. You were really why a lot of people were tuning into Invicta. What can you tell me about that time in your career where, you know, where you were the Invicta champion and you were, like I said, you were all box office there with Invicta?
You know, the first thing I was really thankful for Shayna Baszler, Shayna Knapp giving me the opportunity for signing with Invicta. And I came with a very hard time. I was 1 year not fighting. And when I came, you know, I told Shayna, you know, I'm going to make everything for growing the women's MMA Invicta grow. And they're going to grow together. And I always feel just blessed to be there, you know, the fighting and the amazing work for her. I worked before when she was working in Strikeforce. I met her there and I have the opportunity to fight with her. And she's doing amazing for women's MMA. Very good.
Yeah, very, very good. And I really did enjoy that time. And I said you dabbled in some kickboxing, did some stuff with Lion Fight, which was fun as well. You've always stayed busy. You know, this last time in UFC, it really seemed to me, you know, obviously you got a couple big wins there, and it just seemed like that you were right up there with your, I mean, obviously not quite there with your Conor McGregor's. Obviously, Conor McGregor he's crazy high, you know, as far as his marketability and how many pay-per-views he sells. But you were like top 3 or 4 at least as far as what people wanted to see. You know what I mean? Like if they watched the UFC fight and Cyborg was fighting, they're going to watch that UFC event. You know what I mean? And that's why it was so strange that things couldn't work out. Because usually the UFC, if it's making a lot of news, if it's making a lot of money, they absolutely stick with it and they roll with it. Where did it all break down?
You know, for me, I think before I went to UFC, I already who I am, Cyborg. Everybody know everywhere in the world, you know, when I signed with UFC.
Yeah.
And they had very hard time in the beginning because they don't want to really sign me. And my fans put so much pressure for me there. And I have a nice moment, you know, in the UFC, but I still, the whole time I have a hard time with Dana White. And I don't know, I think he's winning we don't deal together. I think he's like to steady people bound down for him. And then, you know, I respect the people, but I think it had to be back and forth. You know, you have to have respect too. And because I always think we are partners. You know, if I don't fight UFC, if the fighters don't fight, the event don't happen. Then it's not just somebody your boss. You are a partner. You're growing together. And I feel like we don't growing together. He don't want to grow in my brand. And I say, you know what? I think it's the time to move away, you know, do different things and back to fight another organization for continue grow my name before as FC, just, you know, as one cycle.
Yeah, you know, it seems like, you know, going to the UFC, many fighters, you know, that's their ultimate goal is to be on UFC because, you know, UFC is still #1 all around the world, you know, and of course you got to give all the credit to them for being where they're at. That being said, it's like you should have been in a happier place when you were in UFC, but it didn't seem like you were because you were constantly battling behind the scenes.
And then the one thing is really upset because people see me all the time complain. Like, she's out complaining. Because, okay, some fighters then treat it different way, some fighters different way. And it's not about complaints, about you people can see the interviews, can see everything. You know, I don't need to say anything. People, you know, watch it, my story with them. and have great moments. Yes, but I was getting tired. I was getting everything's happened, getting unmotivated. Like, is something you make you happy.
Of
And I
course.
said, no, I want to be happy. I love my job, and just have to change the environment around me, and then the motivate come on back, and this has happened. And I try make work. If you ask anything who work with FC, know how I was nice, listen, always in time. I always say yes for the fights, and just don't work out.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if, and I know every interview you've probably done in the last 10 years, Ronda Rousey's name has got brought up at some point. At one time, it was really Ronda Rousey and Cyborg, and it was, like Anderson Silva and GSP. Those are like the two mega fights that we never really got to see happen.
Yes.
It seemed like, they wanted you to do some crazy things to get to that fight, obviously, to lose so much weight. You were already in incredible shape. You really didn't have anything to lose, which people don't understand how serious that is, and I thought that they painted you in a very bad light, that you were being difficult, but in reality, it was something that your body was not agreeing with. And what can you do with something like that? How can you criticize? Only your body. And at some point you have to draw the line. And it just seems like everybody kind of dumped on you for that. And I never understood that.
For me, I was in the Invicta, and they have the opportunity to fight UFC, and then put one catch weight. And they say, now I want to go back to Invicta. I want to defend my title. And then I say, Cris, you're not going to go back to Invicta. You're now a UFC fighter. I say, no, but now I have my division, and I cannot cut these crazy cuts all the time. And then it happened. They did it more a couple times on 40. And the reality, I was trying my best for make 135, for make the fight happen. But having to have the other side too. If you really don't want this fight to happen, can be the first fight 140 is supposed to be wrong.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
No, just try. I want to fight her in the best shape and the best me,
Yeah.
But they don't want to be the best me fight her. Like, then,
do you think that was more the resistance? Do you think it was more Rousey, or do you think it was more UFC as far as that fight not happening?
I think I think she never won this fight. I think she never won this fight. If she won this fight, she can fight in my division, because she's fighting my division.
Yeah.
And everybody saw I make my best. I work with George Lockhart for these cuts, and the UFC put him work with me.
Yeah.
And then watch everything. He's watch everything for make 135. And if it doesn't gonna work this way. Okay, Ronda, let's do catch weight then, or let's go make 145. I think never in her mind she would like to fight me. I think this is then making me lose weight, asking me for lose weight or cut weight, just for waste my time, because the time is go fight was not her. The time to fight another girl. I think just to waste my time.
Yeah. Is it still, though, personally, is it still something that maybe bothers you even just a little bit, that you never could make that happen?
If I didn't try, I was gonna think, I feel sad about. But
Yeah.
No, I did. I know I stayed 3 years on diet. I was fight back to diet.
Yeah.
And I make it the first time on 35 or 39, and I was doing my best for make. And when you do your best for do something, you feel your heart. No, I did it done. But
Yeah.
A lot of people know with me this. Like Ronda know with me, she don't like to make the fight. If UFC would like to make the fight, but she don't agree how it's gonna make the fight, I think both have to be agreement. And I feel in my heart I did my best, for make the fight happen. It's not dependent on me. I just have to stress about something I control. If I don't control cannot be frustrated. I'm not the matchmaker, and then in my opponent for accepting the fight.
Yeah. Well, you do end up moving on to Bellator, and you capture the championship over Julia Budd. And everybody kind of in this climate, we don't know what's happening, tomorrow, with anything, but everybody wants to know what you are going to do next, and who that next challenger might be. And I've heard rumors that you may want to go do some boxing, and I've, heard rumors that maybe some WWE, maybe some wrestling, who knows? A name that I think with MMA I don't know if you've thought about this or talked about it. If you have, I'm sorry, but what about Kayla Harrison that's over there in PFL right now? Obviously, she's at lightweight at 155. What do you think of that matchup? And, you know, think that's something they could put together?
You know, I think it's great. You know, I never fight 155 before. You know, if they have the opportunity to fight 155 for sure. But I'm signed for Bellator. She signed another
Of course,
organization.
yeah.
This is have to meet each other.
Hey, Scott Coker is a very, very good businessman. If he wants to make something happen, Scott Coker can probably make it happen.
Yes, it's very nice. It is, and this is because this is the one thing, because as I signed the Bellator, I have the opportunity to fight boxing. If I do wrestling, you know, I also don't know if I'm gonna fight MMA soon. And then I was prepared for maybe do one boxing fight. And now the COVID thing mess up a little bit our plans, but we continue training. But I believe the next fight is going to be MMA, and I'm waiting to see, you know, the next opponent. But Scott already have the opponent, and just to wait for see what's going to be the perfect time. But for me, it's always challenge for me. I like challenge myself. Like I like to be in comfort place, because if I don't be in comfort place, I challenge myself and I get improve my game, getting better.
Okay, so I got to ask you, you know, I told you we would come back around to Shayna Baszler, so we'll come back to Shayna Baszler now. You know, the rumors have been out there. I follow professional wrestling. I work in professional wrestling, and we've always heard about this, especially when Ronda was doing her thing, obviously. You know, are they going to bring Cyborg in? And I don't know how much truth there was to any of those rumors, but now I look at it, and I see Shayna Baszler. And obviously, you know, when you debuted, you beat Shayna Baszler and TKO'd her. She's destroying everybody. How amazing would that be as if you showed up and that old opponent from back in the day, and how incredible would that be?
No, it's going to be amazing. Me and Shayna, we never have anything against each other. She's always respectful, me too. And just fight, I think, is amazing. She accepted the fight too. I think we fought 140 to the first fight. Against, and the amazing fight for me is no problem. For sure, I'll just have to prepare and do an amazing match, you know, for all the fans.
Have you ever did any of the professional wrestling training?
I did some training before. It's who's fighting MMA. I think if you know continue training and then getting better, I think you can be able to do. Yes, like you can see Ronda, you can see Shayna Baszler, the girls doing.
I know, and I've heard, you know, Becky Lynch and some of these names, you know, a lot of these names have floated around, but it is a completely different thing to a point. Obviously, to be a good athlete, you can make the transition, but there's so much acting to it and different things you have to do that you would never think about doing in an MMA fight. You know, it is very different, but I would love to see that happen. I think it would be
nice. It's a nice idea. I was never think about it, but this is cool. Never think about Shayna. You know?
Oh yeah, It popped in my mind immediately when I was looking through your record, and I didn't realize that was your first fight in America. I was like, this would be this is a match made in heaven. So you should contact WWE and say, hey, I kicked her ass a long time ago. Let's do this thing again.
Yeah, it's gonna be perfect story. It's gonna be nice. If sells, it's gonna be good.
If it happens, Cyborg, I need credit for that. I need at least let them bring me in, and I'll call the match or something. But and also AEW as well. You know, All Elite Wrestling is doing big things on TNT. That might be an option.
I went live for the pro wrestling too. This one very good.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of good stuff out there. You know, well, I appreciate, you know, you giving me a little bit of time, and I'm so excited to see what's next for you. And hopefully we'll get on commentary again like we did for Brave Combat Federation and some of these things. That'd be great.
Yes, you know, I love it. Go to the Brave. I like it. All the people over there is nice, and they give it a lot of opportunity for the young kids. And, you know, live the dream. Live the dream, you know. It's very cool. And thank you for having me here. You know, I wish soon I'm going to have my next fight schedule, and for sure we can do another interview, and
I would love it.
And then I'm gonna save the idea about Shayna, and
send an email. Just send an email out, see what they have to say about it. Thank you so much, Cris. I really appreciate it. Enjoy your day. Chael, it was an absolute pleasure meeting you.
Yes. Thank you. We start teaching him, you know, talk too much, but soon he's gonna start talking. He like to sing.
Does Chael know that that's his name? Does Chael Sonnen actually know about him?
No, yet. I think maybe because I posted some stuff, but
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure Chael would appreciate that you named your parent after him. Thank you so much, Chris. You have a great day. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much. Bye.
Absolutely. And that is Cris Cyborg, folks. What an episode we had here in this corner. Insane. So great to catch up with Frank and, of course, Chris. And that's it for us this time. We got plenty more awesome guests coming at you. Follow us on all of our social media. I'm Cyrus Fees. We'll see you next time on In This Corner.